Hello students, we shall be discussing about the impacts of arsenic pollution. I am Dr. F. A. Lone, Professor, Division of Environmental Science, Kashmir, Kashmir. The broad outline of this lecture is that we need to study first what is arsenic toxicity, symptoms of arsenic toxicity, effects on human health, then the effects on animals, fish and plants, standards of arsenic in drinking water, and finally, what are the preventive measures as far as the arsenic pollution is concerned? As far as the arsenic is concerned, its toxicity and its exposure to arsenic occurs via the oral route, mostly ingestion, inhalation, dermal or you can say the skin contact, and the parenteral route to some extent. In drinking water supplies, arsenic poses a problem because it is toxic at lower levels and is known as carcinogen. Arsenic in inorganic form, such as those found in the water, are highly toxic, while as its organic arsenic compounds, such as those found in the seafood, are less harmful to the human health. As far as the symptoms of short-term arsenic poisoning are concerned, one can show signs of arsenic poisoning within 30 minutes of high levels of exposure. Immediate symptoms of arsenic poisoning may include abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, dyspnea, sore throat or pharyngitis, abnormal heart rhythms, low blood pressure, hypotension, then also pins and needles feeling in your fingers and toes, red swollen skin, garlic odor in your breath and body tissues, and muscle cramping and even death in some extreme cases. Symptoms of the long-term arsenic exposure. As far as the long-term exposure symptoms are concerned, they may include skin pigmentation, darkening of your skin and may be a precursor to skin cancer, as you see here, warts and lesions, hard patches on the palms of your hand and soles of your feet, what we call as hyperkeratosis, white lines on your nails, which are called as Mees lines, persistent sore throat, constant digestive issues. So these are the symptoms of the long-term arsenic exposure. Then hyperpigmentation is one of the manifestations of arsenic exposure. It interferes with the action of enzymes, essential cations, and transitional events in cells throughout the body, and a multitude of multisystemic non-cancer effects might ensure. The hyperpigmentation of chronic arsenic poisoning commonly appears in a finely refracted raindrop pattern that is particularly pronounced on the trunk and extremities, but that might also involve mucous membrane such as the tongue or the buccal mucosa. So hyperpigmentation is one of the important symptoms of the arsenic exposure. Then arsenocosis and hyperkeratosis. Arsenocosis is defined by the World Health Organization working group as a chronic health condition arising from prolonged ingestion, not less than 6 months, of arsenic above a safe dose, usually manifested by characteristic skin lesions with or without involvement of the internal organs, as you see in the picture also. Then hyperkeratosis, a condition marked by the thickening of outer layer of skin, which is made up of keratin, and it is a tough protective protein. So these are the two important symptoms of the arsenic exposure as far as the human health is concerned. Then other health effects as far as the arsenic is concerned, they constitute cancers of the bladder, kidney, lungs, prostate, skin, blood, digestive system, then cardiovascular diseases like hypertension, congestive heart failures, and cardiac arrhythmias. Hematological effects like acute and chronic arsenic poisoning might result in anemia, leukopenia, and thrombocythemia. Diabetes, non-malignant pulmonary diseases, infant mortality with delayed child health development, cognitive development, intelligence and memory, kidney failures, then neurological and immunological effects, then also the gastrointestinal disorders ranging from hemorrhagic gastroenteritis associated with the shock, and in the pregnant woman, arsenic poisoning can lead to the complications during fetal development, babies born with certain birth defects. And as far as the endocrinal effects are concerned, there have been reports that it causes the inhibition of the pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme complex and the consequent effects on the carbohydrate metabolism and cellular respiration in the human bodies. Then chronic arsenic exposure to humans is also present. In this diagram you will see that there is a nervous system disorder, there is a liver cancer, kidney and bladder cancer, dermal diseases like skin cancer, diabetic mellitus, lung cancer, cardiovascular disease. So all these are basically now represented in the form of this diagram, and you will have a look that chronic disease is also there, acute disease is also there. So these are all basically being attributed to the arsenic pollution. Then not only the humans, but there are the effects of arsenic on the animals also. As far as the animals are concerned, like rice, mice, hamsters, rabbits and chicks, it has been shown that it causes teratogenic and embryotoxic symptoms in the animals, as I told you, in the rats, mice, hamsters, etc. The syndrome of malformation include neural tube, eye skeletal and neurogenetical abnormalities. The symptom is reasonably consistent across species, although the incidence varies. The potency of the different forms of arsenic also varies across species. The inorganic forms, arsenite and arsenate, are more toxic than the methylated forms. And not only in the animals, but in the fish also. In the fish, you find different types of histopathological changes have been observed in the gills and intestines of the arsenic-treated fish. Necrosis and even severe damage in epithelial linings in primary lamellae in gills have been reported in the secondary lamellae of gills at the highest arsenic concentrations, which is around 30 milligram per liter. So fish also get highly affected by this arsenic pollution, and also plants. Plants may accumulate significant amounts of arsenic, most inorganic in the grains or edible shoot parts, which then enter into the food chain and may cause different types of the symptoms like morphological changes, reduction in the leaf number, chlorosis, necrosis, leaf senescence, defoliation, reduction in the shoot growth and all that. Then physiological changes like restricted stomatal conductance, nutrient uptake, chlorophyll degradation. It also hampers photosynthesis, transpiration, respiration, plant metabolism and other physiological activities. And finally, arrests the plant growth. And then there are some biochemical alterations which have been found in the plants, like in the chloroplast, mitochondria, peroxisome, endoplasmic reticulum, cell wall, polymer membrane, cause reactive oxygen species over generation, which damage the cell through disintegrating the structure of the lipids, proteins and DNA. Generation of reactive oxygen species, ROS, which imposes oxidative stress leading to the damage of proteins, amino acids, nucleotides and the nucleic acid. So these are basically the impacts which have been observed in the plants, and yield loss also, and then even the death of the plants. And then the standards of arsenic in drinking water, as far as the standard limits, as far as WHO guidelines are concerned, the guideline is that once the water should not have more than 0.01 milligram per liter of arsenic, and if it is higher, that means the water should not be taken. We call it then a polluted water or a dangerous water for the human health. Then the precautionary measures which we have to take as far as the arsenic pollution is concerned. One of the most effective preventive measures against arsenic poisoning is to make sure that you drink clean and filtered water. You may want to consider only drinking and using bottled water while traveling, and make sure that all foods are prepared in clean water. If you work in industries that use arsenic, take extra precautions. When working with arsenic treated wood, make sure to wear protective clothing, gloves and a dust mask. This can help reduce your exposure to sawdust. If you work in an industry that uses arsenic, wear a face mask to lessen your chance of accidentally inhaling arsenic particles. And then in addition, be sure to shower and change your clothes before going to home, and it could unintentionally carry the toxin home on your skin, hair or clothes. So all these are basically the preventive or the precautionary measures as far as the arsenic pollution is concerned. Thank you very much, students, for watching this video. All the best. Take care.